viewers, my name is Jasmine and I'm from the Balboa Park Cultural Partnership. And we are just so excited to have you guys here today for our virtual Explorer experience with the San Diego Automotive Museum.
We have a number of cars on the floor, but I decided that this time we would talk about our pickup trucks that are on the floor right now, because pickup trucks are awesome and sometimes underappreciated. Our first specimen here is a 1957 Chevrolet Cameo. And if you take a look at this lovely vehicle here, you'll notice that the color is amazing.
Yeah, the color is gorgeous. I love it.
Right? It's the name of it is it's a two-tone Indian turquoise and Bombay ivory. I got a question earlier as to what this means right here, Chevrolet, and it says 3124. I've been trying to answer that question. Basically, the early Chevrolet trucks of this era, the 3100s were considered to be half-ton trucks. Don't know where the 31 comes from. The 24 is really interesting because there's some word on the research that says that it's has to do with how wide the wheelbase is, meaning I think it's 123.5 inches. So that's the theory. But if it's a 3100, it's a short bed. If you look at this, it's only a 6-foot bed truck. Pickup trucks also have a long bed version, which is a little bit longer than this. So, getting back to our delightful car. This Cameo's, what was significant about Cameos when they first came out was they were the first flat-sided trucks, meaning the trucks before this time usually had flares for the wheels right here, and then they were called step sides, so that you could step and get into the bed of the truck. These were the first flat-sided ones, and then everybody else jumped on the bandwagon and had the same style.
It's so sleek. I love it. Right?
So Chevrolet really did set the precedent there, and I believe it was Chuck Jordan who designed it, honestly. One thing that I want you guys to notice is take a look at the angle of this bed, this light area. Most pickup trucks, you'll have straight up and down. They have it angled, and this is 1957, which is the land of fins. The beginning of fin, like the really big fins starting to come out. This has a slight fin on it. It also has a beveled edge, which I think is amazing. But that's just me.
That's so beautiful. Were these the first fleet sides?
Well, you know what? Chevy also had the fleet side, but yeah, technically these were the first flat-sided vehicles. Chevy had a fleet side. There was a swept side. I forget what Ford called theirs. They all meant that they were flat-sided all of a sudden, because again, the standard was a step side. Now, this truck, when this bed goes down, I'm very short, and you need to use both sides of this to get this down here. So you can take a look at that bed here. It's got 2 levers on both sides that you have to use to disconnect to have it go down.
So gorgeous.
Nice wood truck bed. That was wooden. It wasn't steel. Good solid steel sound too. Another thing on 50s vehicles was beautiful bright work. You got your lovely Chevy insignia there. Got, of course, this lovely panel. Something that I love about those cars too is the fact that they had amazing like font usage. So let's go to the front here. Another thing you'll notice for cars and trucks even from the 30s, 40s, and 50s and 60s, stopping pretty much, is hood spears or hood ornaments where you had some sort of metal sculptures on the car. Actually, beautiful stuff. Let's take a look at this interior.
Oh, really quick, was the font called Magneto?
It could have been. I don't know.
Yeah.
You're
Someone
always going
thinks
to
it
come
might
up with
have
one of
been.
yeah, it's a good question. I don't know.
Love it.
I love the font, but I don't know. So this lovely interior, Mireya is going to go ahead and pan for you. Again, the interior, if you notice, this is fabric. It's got a kind of a metallic glint to it. And if you look at the interior, really pretty interior, beautiful seats. The speedometer is something that's a favorite because it's shaped like a V, like a V8 symbol.
I love it. So
Right?
gorgeous. Yeah, I can't stop saying that. This whole car is just insane.
The other thing you're going to notice in this truck, it's got a really big rear window, curved glass there, which was just starting to work out in the late 50s. No, in the 50s. Oh, yeah, sometimes it takes time to close the door. So yeah, this is a big window, smaller. You'll see in some of the 50s vehicles, the windows will be smaller. This was great for visibility because you can see more what's going on. Another thing that's on this truck is this visor. If you look up here, there's a visor up at the top of the vehicle, which is to cut out the sun, because something that nobody tells you, and I learned it the hard way with my own 50s vehicle, is how hot it gets in these cars. Oh my God. And the sun coming through can be really, really hard to see. So they would use the sun dryers on occasion. That was not standard. It was an option you could get.
Whoa. Also, we have two more questions. Is this a standard or automatic?
Let's take a look.
Yeah.
Let's see if you can answer your own question. I started taking my gloves off for the engine. Okay, so take a look at the inside there, and someone, not me, answer that question. What do you think? Standard.
Someone says
Automatic.
stick.
It is technically a stick, although it's not your traditional stick that a lot of people would use a stick, verbiage for, because a stick usually refers to on the actual bottom of the car here. That's a stick. This is the 3 on the tree, which means it's on the steering column.
Yeah, someone just guessed that right now too.
Awesome. There you go. 3 on a tree.
And then our second question was, are the seatbelts original to the vehicle?
No, they didn't have standard seatbelts. That lovely bench seat, by the way, is a beautiful thing. You can slide all the way across on the vehicle. Now, I am going to try and open this thing up. And I think earlier we talked about the fact that you need to have a latch on here. You guys know why? Why do you need this thing latched? Anybody?
Someone says, so it doesn't fly up into your face.
Exactly. What would happen is there'd be so much resistance up against the hood that if they didn't have a latch on it, sometimes the actual entire hood would fly up and you wouldn't be able to drive and see something in front of you. So they had to put a latch on there. That's the original V8. Do you believe it's 238?
Wow.
283, I reversed the numbers. 283 cubic inches. That's the original oil pan filter and air filter in there. Got some nice valve covers on there. So I'm gonna go ahead and close this hood up. My gloves back on.
If anybody has any more questions on this truck in particular, now is the time. Because we got other trucks too.
Yes, there are other trucks. So this again is the Chevy Cameo. Beautiful truck, very rare truck because it was marketed at a time, it started out in 1955, only produced until 1958, and it cost 30% more than your average pickup truck. It was considered to be like a gentleman's truck, kind of an elegant utilitarian vehicle. So it didn't sell that well, and it that's just very rare. You don't see these very often.
Wow. Someone was asking if the chrome valve covers, and those have to be aftermarket, right?
More than likely, yes, because yeah, they didn't do chrome for the standard.
And then another question was, can this run on non-leaded gasoline?
No. Let me correct that. If it's modified or they harden the headers and make it so it can't, then you can. But you have to do that. And if you don't, then you have to add lead additive to the fuel to make it work. The problem is there's all this other stuff that's now added to fuels, and it chews into the engine. So be aware of that. If you ever buy an old car, you know, if you want it to work on regular unleaded, you're going to have to do some modifications to it, and it's still not going to be very good for the engine, ultimately. So we're going to walk over here. Our floor is a little bit different than it would be for our normal exhibit because we had to move a car out of here. So everybody's kind of cattywampus. Does anybody know that term? Yeah. So that was a 57. Now we're going to go see something that's just an amazing vehicle. Again, these cars were actually meant to be, you know, workhorses, but they turned out to be very, very, very attractive. 1972 C20.
Wow, look at that.
Custom camper. You gotta love this color combination. Again, why did we ever go away from two-tone vehicles? I don't know, because it really accents the lines of the car. This is considered to be, I believe, something like poly-olive metallic. The things I love about this car, outside of the car itself, you got this amazing chrome work here that goes all the way from the tip of the car with a little spear at the end, goes all the way down the bed of the truck. Now, not very flashy, but just the small details on the design here really do wonders for the truck. This is considered a long bed because it's the longer version of the truck. And the nice thing, again, I love the color contrast on the back here of the bed with the name.
Yeah, it's so beautiful. Oh my gosh.
I like it. No questions? So this is going to be.
Yeah, let me know if you guys have any questions.
This is the bed going down here.
Oh, we do have a question.
Okay.
How many cylinders?
This is a V8. So 8. So this is the truck bed. Again, really great entry. You can just go ahead and put a ton of stuff in here. Now you'll notice that the wheel wells are coming into the side of the truck. That's the thing with the flat-sided truck, is that the wheel wells had to go somewhere, so it went on the inside. Sometimes that made it hard for cargo on the depending on.
We have another question.
Yep.
What car did you guys have to move out and why from the Automotive Museum?
Oh my, okay. Yeah, even my coworkers laughing a little bit at that. Okay, so the car that we had to move out was a visitor from another country. It was a lowrider, but the thing that was really spectacular about it was a 1958 Chevrolet Bel Air lowrider that was from Japan. Now, the thing that was different about it, if you aren't thinking about lowriders, you know a lot of times they have great paint jobs, right? They're fantastic. And another detail that they like to have is like the bumpers. Sometimes they'll do some engraving on the bumpers. Well, this artist took it another level. He came up with an aluminum-based paint that he created, painted it with like 8 layers of the paint, and engraved not just the bumpers, not just the engine, the entire car.
Oh my gosh, that's
Yes.
insane.
So if you want to look this car up, because you should, look up silver engraved lowrider Japan, and it should come up. Worth a look.
That's amazing. And
really
we have a question pertaining to this car. Does this one have a wooden bed?
No, it's got a metal bed. The wooden beds were, I think, mostly through late 50s, early 60s.
So this has a mat.
Yeah, it has a mat on it, but it's got a metal bed underneath it. Okay, so here's the interior. Now the interior to this thing, take a look, because my coworker who's got the camera right now was like, oh my God, look at this interior. But notate the color, notate this amazing embossed interior right here.
Wow.
And then take a look at that seat. If you do a zoom in on that seat, you'll see that design. I think that's houndstooth, right?
Mm-hmm.
So beautiful. I love it.
And then even the ceiling of the bed or the ceiling of the cab has got ridges in it, which is just a detail. It's not really a functional thing, but it's a pretty neat looking detail.
Same detail as the back.
So you guys can answer this question. Is it an automatic or is it a stick? Manual is what we should probably say. What do you think? Who votes for manual?
Someone said auto. Yeah, 2 pedals equals automatic.
See? You learn. Outstanding.
Pedals equals automatic.
Yep. Now this, you'll see that there's a, because I forget exactly when the seatbelts became required, honestly, right now. I know it was in the 70s. I just don't remember if it was, but that's definitely factory, so. And again, I'm used to today's cars where you don't slam the door.
Any other questions on this truck before we move on to our next truck?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I'm waiting on them.
Dun,
Waiting
dun,
to
dun.
see if anybody has any questions.
Okay. So again, this is a C20, which is the next step up from the lightest truck there, which was a 1/2 ton. This is a 3/4 ton truck, which means it can take a bigger payload as far as weight. And the details here are amazing. You've got a lovely bow tie down here, pretty nice grill there. Simple but elegant in its design. And really a beautiful truck. I really love this truck.
Yeah, I love it too. It's so gorgeous. I can't stop saying it. But that's gonna be my word of the whole experience is gorgeous.
Gorgeous. Well, it works for me. I'm personally trying to get away from using the word awesome because I grew up in Southern California and that's the only thing I always say about pretty much everything. But they're all so awesome. So we're gonna go take a look how big that truck is, right? Another thing about the 70s is a lot of cars in the US were really, really big. What happened in this? What else happened in the 70s that made you not want to have a big car? Anybody? Before we go to our next contestant. What happened in the 70s, people? It's pretty earth-shattering as far as the automotive
Someone
world.
said the fuel crisis.
Exactly, the fuel crisis. You want to go ahead and pan over to that panel right there? So something we have our walls here, are explanation of some things that were going on during the 70s, one of which 10 gallons of gas didn't get you very far because what? You got 10 miles per gallon. But yeah, so there was crisis at the gas pumps. People were running out of gas while they were waiting for gas. So that caused a lot of problems. And if you want to take a look at this lovely car too, you get, I mean, can't get away from the station wagon right there. I had to throw that in.
Also, one more question about the last truck. Why is it called a camper?
Well, because it's got a camper special. What's notated is because the bed of the truck was made so it can take a camper shell very easily. So basically, even though these are also for stakes, if you want to put like a stake in here and tie stuff to it. But yeah, back in the day when you didn't have, RVs, how you traveled with your family, you could either have a trailer or you could have a camper shell attached to your pickup truck. And what a camper shell had was it had the beds, it had maybe a table in it, depending on how big it was. So you could put an actual shell of a camper into the back of the pickup truck. And the door for the camper was located back over here. So you would remove this, and then the back end of the shell would be here, and there's actual like a hinged door that you would go into the back of the camper shell.
Ah, so smart.
How do I know this? I grew up traveling the US in a camper with my dad. My dad was a dog trainer.
Oh,
And we
I love
competed in
that. Awesome.
weird stuff. Who's to know that you're going to be an automotive person after you travel the US going to dog shows. This lovely car that's coming up is a Japanese station wagon. So Japanese, in fact, it was never sold in the US as this version. This is a JDM, or Japanese Domestic Market pickup truck. It's called a Nissan Sunny.
I like the name.
Now this one has been modified, as you can tell. It's been lowered. But it's just so cute. Look how small it is.
I love it. How tall is it? Or roughly?
Well, let's see. I'm 5'3". So, see, about 4 feet. Like 3.5 feet tall. Now, granted, like it has been lowered because it's a little bit of a stance thing. But if you look at this, it's a right-hand drive, which means the steering wheel's on the other side of the car.
Wow. We have 2 questions. Is that a UTE or a Ute?
No, it's not a Ute. Good question. Utes were sold mostly they're mostly popular in Australian markets. But there was a version of a Ute that's very similar to this, but it is not a Ute.
Ooh, and what year was this made?
Well, these were made from, I want to say 1972 to 1985 or 6, but I'm not sure on that. They were all very similar in body style. So, another detail you want to notate on this, just because it's amazing, is the fender mirrors. Notice that the mirrors are here and not by the window. This actually gave you better visibility than the window one. Look at the detail in the front there. The grill over there I love the little grill details on this thing. And you'll notice the owner has a custom Japanese plate on there, because that 619 is definitely for us.
I love it. How
So
many
look at
cylinders are on it? Oh, sorry.
No, no worries. I want to say 4. Let me double check. Because I forget. This is also considered a long bed for because it was a little bit longer in the back here. Notice these lovely tie downs that are the original tie downs to strap your stuff down. How are we doing on time, people? Because I lost track of it.
No, you're doing good. You're doing great.
Okay. So,
We'll give you like another 10 more minutes.
okay. So we've got one more pickup truck, which qualifies as both a truck and a sedan in its advertising. Believe it or not, truck sedan. Why? Because trucks generally don't have the nicest ride, right? They're really meant to drag stuff around and get things done. Not so comfortable, a little rough on the tush. This car tried to answer that question by having handling more like a car, but having the ability to be a pickup truck. Take a look at this car and tell me what you think with before we tell you what the manufacturer is. Anybody know what the kind of car that is? Be careful, it's a trick question.
Is it El Camino?
It's a trick question. It is not an El Camino. This is a GMC Sprint, which looks exactly or very similar to an El Camino, but it's a GMC. Therefore, and they were a lot less made. So this is a lot rarer vehicle. But they're using the same body panels and stuff. They made some adjustments to the suspension, theoretically. But the nice thing about this is you got the front end of your muscle car and the back end of a pickup truck. And you got the engine to prove it too.
Wow, look at him.
You'll notice on the car, if you look at it from a little bit distance, you'll see that it's got what's called a California rake. Does anybody know what a California rake is? Outside of something that you use for your garden. It's not your garden rake. It's a California rake. Let's see if we got anybody who's got an answer.
It means lower in the front and higher in the back.
There you go.
Woo!
There you go. So yeah, so basically it gives it a little bit more of an aggressive stance. The wheels are a little thicker in the back, give you a little bit more traction. You can, tear it up. But the nice thing about the car is it's got the handling and the ride of a car versus a truck suspension. And then the truck bed, you can put things in here. It's not meant to be a heavy loading vehicle though. So this is not really, for all your cinder blocks or whatever you want to run around with.
How well did these sell?
How well do they sell? Well, the El Caminos actually sold really well, but because these, again, were not as common and they didn't produce as many, I forget exactly how many were sold. Let me see if I can see that on my narrative, because as much as I do all this, I look at all this stuff and I keep forgetting all the details.
It's a lot to remember.
No worries. I don't know how many were sold because they don't even have the greatest documentation. But,
no worries. And was the back end used for surfboards?
Well, you can put whatever you want back there.
Sounds like a very Californian thing.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
And what year was this?
This is a 1972 or is it 75? 72. 1972. And then the interior, again, is your 70s glory of a bucket seat. A little hard to see because it's black, but notice the chrome piping in here. They still did have some glorious details in here.
So good.
So I'm going to be a little brat and say, what is that for? What is that for? A lot of today's...
For a wing window?
There you go. A wing window.
There
What's
you
a
go.
wing window? Yeah, a wing window. See this thing right here? This was the best air conditioning ever. You could direct the wind. You didn't have to have any extra, gasoline going to it. It was awesome.
Someone asked if this has a turbo charger.
No, it doesn't have a turbocharger. This is a carbureted engine. No, it doesn't have a turbo.
Ah, so good. If anybody has any last minute questions before we wrap this up, because this is just insane. So if anybody has any questions, we would love to hear them. Are these trucks part of the collection or are they loaned?
These are on temporary loan. We have them here representing for the 1970s, our 70s car show that we have on exhibit.
So
Kind of
good.
just representing the utilitarian stuff for the era, for those last three.
And what was the sticker price back then for this car right here?
Right? For the Sprint, sorry. I write this stuff down. $2,880. I don't know about the Sunny. So if you want to see some other cars that are here down at the Automotive Museum for our 70s show, come by and check it out. We're looking forward to see you if you come down.
Yes, so good. And one more question. Thanks for sharing all the older trucks. Are there any news on future electric trucks?
You know what? On schedule we are going to have it, which is, I don't know what the start date's going to be yet, was going to be alternative vehicles and propulsion for vehicles coming up after our 70s show. Now the 70s show has been extended at least to August 29th. So the alternative show would probably be somewhere starting around September 5th or so. That's the theory, and I'm hoping to get some trucks in here if I can get them. It all depends on whether I can sweet talk Tesla.
So
'Cause you know that
exciting.
Cybertruck would be cool and I'll get out, right?
Awesome. So any last minute things from you guys that you guys want to share from the Automotive Museum? Good to go. Great. And you guys have the upcoming digital show coming up, right?
Oh yeah, we're going to be working on some stuff, I think.
Some fun things.
Yep.
Awesome. I love it. So this is going to wrap us up. Thank you so much, Pandora, for sharing. And thank you for everyone. Yeah, of course. Sorry. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing. And thank you, Explorers, for watching us and also giving all your awesome questions and being involved with this process. Be on the lookout for new virtual Explorer experiences in the future. And if you want more Balboa Park information and content, including live chat and videos from all across the park, visit culturalpartnership.org/updates. And afterwards, please take a few minutes to fill out our survey that we have for you. And we hope you've enjoyed this experience and hope to have you guys all come back again. Bye.
See ya.